Hey everyone, it's John with KGTropicals and KGTropicals.com. We're here for part 5 of the series about breeding African cichlids. And I just have to say first, I apologize. It's been a while since I put out a video, and if you followed along with what I'm doing outside of putting this series about breeding African cichlids together, you know that Lisa and I have been absolutely overwhelmed. I mean, we have, in the last 2 months, moved our 120 fish tanks into our new store, set them up, moved the fish. We went and got 400 tanks from somebody in Knoxville, Tennessee. We got this new building. We built all of the racks, painted the racks, got new fish to have in the store, opened the store, been working the store while working our other business. I mean, come on, it's been absolutely crazy. And I have not been able to sit down and do these videos, and I'm sorry for that, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are wondering what's next, and I've kind of left them hanging. Well, finally, I'm back, and here it is, part 5, the waiting game. Well, what have we talked about so far? We've gotten you set up to breed African cichlids. We've gotten you the right fish, in the right tank, with the right filtration, and under the right water parameters. And so now what? What happens now? Well, you could easily sit back and say, well, nothing. We just wait and wait for the fish to do what they're going to do, because hey, we can't make them breed, right? Well, that's true, but at the same time, there are little things that we can do to facilitate them, to maybe spark them a little bit. We're going to talk about those in a second, but first, I wanted to talk about something that I haven't touched on yet, and that is decor. How to decorate your tank. I get so many questions about that. Should I build caves? Should I put up rocks? What kind of substrate should I have? Well, substrate is something that you can go bare bottom tank. If you don't want to put in a substrate, it's a little bit more difficult, in my opinion, to get a tank properly cycled that way, but you can do it. In our hatchery, all of our tanks are going to be bare bottom, so, you know, hey, I mean, that's what it is. But sand, small gravel, you can absolutely do all of that. Bottom line is, these fish will find a place to spawn. If they don't find one, they're going to make one for themselves. Whether you have sand, gravel, it doesn't matter. If they don't have a spot to spawn, the male is going to clear one out. And you'll come down one day, and your sand from one corner is going to all be pushed to the side. That's going to be his spot. So does that mean you should put something flat there for them to spawn on? Sure, go ahead, we do it. But they don't always pick that spot. Just because you put it there doesn't mean that they're going to use it. The male is going to select the place that he wants to take as his territory. It's part of his taking dominance of the tank. He's not going to automatically go to where you want him to go. You can put out the nicest piece of granite in the tank and say, hey, that's perfect for him to spawn on, and it is, but he might decide the other corner of the tank, in the back corner underneath the cover of a plant, that's the perfect place for him. So, you know, you really can't dictate where these fish are going to do their spawning, but should you give them all of those things? Sure. I don't. You can see, you've seen a lot of my breeder tanks. My breeder tanks don't have a lot in them. And the reason for that is because I don't want to struggle to catch the females when they're holding eggs. We're going to talk about in the next video what I'm talking about with catching the females. Because you might be saying, well, wait a minute. Why do you have to catch the females? You're just trying to get in there to catch the babies, right? Well, that's not what I do. So we'll talk about that in the next one. So I don't want to have to completely dismantle my aquascape, like in this tank, to catch the female. So we don't put hardly anything. Maybe a clay pot, maybe a little pyramid of PVC pipes. We put a couple of things in the tank. We want them to have something, but we don't overload the tanks with decorations. Now, if you're doing this for fun, if your breeding tank is in your living room, well, you probably want it to look nice, and you're not going to be pulling out fish every day like we do to strip them or to, you know, do whatever it is that you're going to do. We're going to talk about that next, but you know, it's completely up to you. Do the fish like having the caves and the pots and all of that stuff? Yeah, they're rock-dwelling fish. Of course they do. Ambulance. Sorry about that. So we're right on the street here, so, you know, somebody honks a horn, you're gonna hear it. Anyway, you can decorate it the way you want it. I don't believe that the decor in the tank is gonna determine whether your fish are gonna breed or not. I don't have a lot in my tanks, we don't, and they still breed. So a lot of breeders will have their breeder tanks are these big massive vats that are, you know, 2,000 gallons with a bunch of fish in it, and they don't have anything. I mean, either way, if these fish are gonna breed, they're gonna breed. So you don't have to give them these things, but it's okay if you have this in your living room or in your man cave or woman cave or your den or whatever it is, and you want it to look nice, that's fine. Just understand that on the next video, part 6, when we talk about what to do when the female is holding, you might have a little bit of struggle when it comes to catching the female to put her in another tank or to strip her or whatever. So keep that in mind. Watch the next video and it'll make a little bit more sense. The decor is completely on you. So, you know, there you go. Now, you've got your tank decorated now. Fish are in it. You bought your male and 6 females. Maybe you bought a couple of males and 10 females, whatever it is. Since I've started this series, I've sent quite a few different ratios out to people. Hey, they want what they want, and that's fine. I'm not going to argue with them. But like we said in a previous video, I like 2 males, 6 females. Take 1 male, put him in a tank like this, hold him for later if you need him, and then use your 1 male to do your breeding. So, are there things that you can do that are going to facilitate breeding? The answer is yes. There's a few things that you can do. It doesn't guarantee, but it may help. What are those things? Well, I'm going to say the best one, I'm going to save that for last. The first thing that you really need to do is you need to make sure your water parameters are straight. We talked about that last time. That is of utmost importance. Second thing, if you've had your fish in there for a while and they're not breeding, raise your temperature a little bit. I'm not saying take it from 82 to 90. You don't want to cook the fish, but raise your temperature a degree or 2. That might help. Another thing that absolutely helps is keep your females fat. Feed them heavily. Not overboard, but make sure they're fed. Make sure their bellies are full and they're comfortable and they feel good. Another thing, and I have found this to work quite well, we talked earlier about the male is going to find a spot in the tank that he's going to take as his territory, and that site is also going to be the spawning site. One of the things that can happen, I've watched it, the male will find his little spot, he'll try to entice the females, nothing will happen, he'll get bored, he'll get lazy, and it'll stop. It's weird, I don't know how a male could stop pursuing a female, but hey, they get lazy, and then they'll wait for the females to come to them. So one of the effective ways of sparking it again, to get this process started again, is to rearrange your tank. Move things around. Eliminate his spawning site, cover it up, or put the gravel back, put the sand back, whatever it is, and make him do it again. He'll start immediately taking another spot, or maybe the same spot, but rebuilding it, and mentally it'll start the process all over again for the male. So that's another way to spark them. The best way that I have found, and I promise you, I can't understand the science behind it, but it is absolute fact. Do a water change. I know that sounds simple. I know you're doing your water change anyway, but do a water change. Maybe add a water change to your normal routine. The theory is that a water change and introducing cool water, not ice water, but cool water into the tank, what that's going to do is simulate rain. The temperature of the lake, if these fish are in the wild, which none of my fish have ever been in the wild, but if they were in the wild, a rain is something that sparks spawning for some reason. That's the part I don't understand the science behind. Maybe somebody can explain that to me. But a rain is something that sparks spawning. So if you do a water change and you introduce cool water, maybe a few degrees lower than what your tank is, that is a simulation of rain, and that'll definitely spark the females. I told you I know it as fact. Well, we used to do all of our water changes on a Sunday. And Monday and Tuesday, we'd be overrun with holding females. So that's how I know. So it absolutely works. So to recap, decorate your tank the way you want to. Go as overboard as you want, or keep it as minimalistic as you want. When you watch the next video, you will understand how sometimes your decor can conflict with the next stage in the process. But decorate the tank the way you want it. Water parameters need to be spot on. If you're not getting any breeding to occur, raise your temperature slightly, a degree or two. See if that helps. That doesn't help, move your tank decorations around. Make the male wake up and get back with the program. And then always do your water change. Do your water, you gotta do it anyway, but do another water change, or do your water changes twice a week or something. Do your water changes and do it with the water that's cool to simulate rain, and that might spark the females. And the males typically are always ready to go, but sometimes they do get lazy. So those are the things that you can do to help facilitate breeding. Other than that, you cannot make them do it. So try those tricks, see if that helps out. It works for me, so it probably should work for you. It works for every other breeder that I've known too. So, try those things out, and then watch for the action to happen. And it will. I promise you it will. So in the next video, we're going to talk about what to do when that does happen. We're going to start off talking a little bit about the spawning process itself, because some don't know. And then we're going to talk about what to do when your female is holding eggs. The next video is going to be one that could spark quite a bit of debate, because a lot of people do it different ways. I'm going to tell you the different ways that it's done, and then I'm going to tell you what we do. What we do works for us. So hey, you want to know what I do? I'm going to tell you what we do. So that's going to be on part 6 on breeding African cichlids, which will be what to do when the female is holding. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad to be back. And hey, while you're waiting for the next video to get uploaded, go on the Facebook page for us, KGTropicals. Like us on there so we can share it with all your friends and all of that. Go on the website, order a bunch of fish. We've put so many more fish in there. We're carrying discus now. We're getting discus from some of the best places you can get them. They're unbelievable. Check out the pictures. The pictures on the website are the actual discus that are for sale. You're going to love it. Go on there, check it out, buy some fish. We'll ship them out to you. Follow us on Twitter at KGTropicals. And hey, get ready for the next video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.